let's move right along, man. So Rick Barry. So I did a show, I want to say last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. And it was a podcast that I listened to, or I don't listen to it often, but I was listening to it that day. And it's called the Hoops Genius podcast, right? So I do want to give them a shout out because I used that sound bite last week or 2 weeks ago of BJ Armstrong talking about how carrying, traveling, and all of this stuff is giving the offense of an advantage in this era of basketball because the referees act like they don't see it, they don't call it. So I did that. I produced that show and it was good. There was a lot of people in the comment section, but I also wanted to talk about Rick Barry kind of saying the same thing, but he went a little bit more in detail. So I want to play for you what Rick Barry said, and I'm gonna come back with my commentary.
You know, it's great that you say that because it was interesting. People keep talking about 75 and how the game has evolved, and you're like, it really hasn't. It's still basically the same game.
Well, it's the same game, but it's not played the same way because there's more emphasis on the 3-point shooting. There's too much emphasis on one-on-one stuff, and they still sometimes abuse the 3-point shot. I mean, the 3-point shot used properly is a great weapon. It's a great weapon, but it shouldn't be your primary weapon. The Warriors lost the championship because they did nothing but shoot 3-point shots in Game 7 against Cleveland when LeBron made that incredible block. But other than that, Iggy's breakaway, every shot they took was a distance 3-point shot. It was just everything from the perimeter. Go to the damn basket, get to the free throw line, put some points on the board. That was one of the worst seventh games in the history. Was probably the worst last 4 minutes and 20 or 40 seconds of NBA's finals game sevens in the history of the league. 1 3-point shot by Kyrie Irving, 1 of 2 free throws by LeBron James. That was it. It was horrible.
So you don't see them really, the league and having to do anything. Let's say we're talking about the 75.
Well, we said get the officials to call it by the rule book.
Okay.
Stop the traveling, stop the carrying the ball, stop the moving screens, call the damn game according to the rule book because players will adjust. If you're going to allow them to get away with it, hell, of course I'll keep doing it. Call the game according to the rule book. It's such an advantage to let a guy carry the basketball or take an extra step. That's ridiculous. You know, or a guy to move on offense. I mean, what are you giving all this advantage to guys for? They're breaking the rules. Call the game according to the rule book. I charted a game a few years ago, Chicago, Atlanta. 59 moving screens weren't called. 59. That's insane. I can't even tell you how many times they carried the ball, how many times they traveled with the ball. It's pathetic. I mean, for me to watch this game the way I was taught how to play the game and to watch this and what they allow to let go, it's an embarrassment. I'm sorry, it is. It's an incredible game. The athletes are incredible. What they can do is incredible, but they're getting away with murder. And I blame the officials. Call the damn game accordingly. And it's the same thing with screens. I mean, I'll give you a live lesson here. Okay. You hear even the coaches, when I'm hearing the coaches saying, well, he didn't set a very good screen. Trust me, guys, a player doesn't set a screen. Doesn't say when you have to set something, it implies that you need to do something. You have to set a screen. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility as my teammate for Clifford Ray, let's say, is to learn to put yourself in the most advantageous position to allow me to take my man and run my man into him, thereby making him a screener. He's a stationary object. He only becomes a screener if I run my man into him. So if I do a crappy job of setting my man up and he's going to come over the screen, what does he think? Oh, I'm supposed to set a screen. So he moves a little bit to try to what? Set a screen. That's a violation. It's a moving screen. It's a foul. Officials don't call it unless you take a guy's head off. That's the problem with the pick and roll play. They don't run it properly. They don't understand it properly, and even the coaches are talking not intelligently about it.
So yeah, he was heated, and I like that whole interview. He was heated about a lot of things, but I am too. Like you can't be taught basketball the right way, middle school, high school, and some people who went and played, JUCO and all that stuff. You can't be taught basketball the right way coming up in the time where I came up, where you had to do everything crisp and you had to do everything according to the rule book in the right way, right? The screen is really on the ball handler. When you're the point guard, the big man that's setting the screen, His job is just to stand there. It is our job to make sure that we set the defender up just right so I can run him into the screen. Right? It's a art to it. Right? You're not supposed to just dribble this way and then the screener moves and hits the defender. Now, that's not how it's supposed to happen. That's a moving screen, like Rick Barry said. That's a moving screen. You're not supposed to be sliding into your pick. You don't slide into the screen. You're supposed to be stationary, and the ball handler sets the defender up and slightly. I mean, you got to be this close to the screener when you dribble around that screen, so your defender either is going to hit that screen or have to go under it or chase you around the screen. There should be no space for the defender to slide between you and the screener so he can continue to defend you. Right? You're supposed to be this close to the guy with no gaps. Therefore, he has to go under, chase you, or actually hit the screen. What they're doing now is there is a gap that when you dribble past the screener is closing the gap and hitting the defender, and they're not calling it. The NBA doesn't call it; they allow it, and that's just the ball handler using the screen. We're not even going to talk about the off-ball screens. We talked about that on the last video. I showed footage of Golden State Warriors on the off-ball screens. They're moving even worse than the guy who's setting the on-ball screen. The off-ball screens are even worse, right? So the traveling, the step backs before shooting a three, the palming the ball under the ball and carrying, the extra steps to the layup and all these gather step stuff that they're trying to teach and all this crazy stuff. All of this is giving the advantage to the offense, right? And, people always talk about there's no new rules to help the offense out. But you're not talking about the directive that the referees have on what they're going to allow and not call, right? You don't have to make a new rule if you just tell the referees, we allow that. That moving screen is okay, right? We're just the rules is already in place. We're going to interpret them different. We're just going to tweak it and interpret it a different way so you can allow that. You don't have to make a new rule, right? So we can tell that the NBA or Adam Silver, they have made a purpose that they want to see more offense, and that's why they was allowing all those moving screens, the travels, the step back, all of those things, and handicapping the defense because they wanted more offense. And I think this year it's became very clear to Adam Silver that that's not a good business model anymore. And as you can see, the defense they're playing in the playoffs now has all been close to 90 style defense. They're not calling. I don't know if you heard when they do those replays, when they're reviewing foul calls, when they say marginal contact, that's a point of emphasis now. Marginal contact. So the stuff that usually gets to the free throw line for last year before the last, as of late, you're not getting to the free throw line for it anymore because they're saying that's marginal contact that didn't impede you from getting your shot off clean, right? His hand was just on your back. He didn't push you or anything. He didn't hold you or nothing like that. His hand was just there, right? They're saying marginal contact, right? So anything driving to the basket, they're allowing, right? When you're driving to the basket, if my hand is on you a little bit, if I'm giving you some body, if you jump into me before you get the shot, they're not calling it. And that's what I like. But they're going to have to take it a step further and fix all these moving screens, fix the traveling and all that stuff. And then we're going to have some good basketball, because if you can see in the playoffs, the offense actually picks up. When you let the defense do their job and you let the defense be tough, you actually get amazing offense and you get amazing games, right? So you didn't have to cheat and help the offense out by handicapping the defense so you can get more points. We actually and we're getting better games because if the shot making is going to become better if the defense steps their game up. So That's what we're seeing in the playoffs. I don't know if y'all been noticing it. That's what I've been seeing. And I'm gonna go ahead and open the phone lines up, man, and let y'all weigh in on this one. I'm gonna get to some of y'all comments. All of it is ruining the game in the long run. People want competition, not scoring. Yeah, I agree. Let us see defense as well. Let us see defense as well. Yeah, LeBron be getting first downs on the basketball court. Be getting first downs. So super chat, man. Cash, appreciate the super chat. Have you noticed that they have been calling it better in the playoffs? Yes, 100%. That's what I was just saying. They're not calling ticky tack fouls on the drive, right? So they're allowing more defense, more tougher defense on the dribble drives and on the shot as well. So you just can't throw yourself into people and get that foul no more that like you used to. Yep. Yeah, first downs. He getting first downs. All right, I'm gonna move on then since I ain't getting no phone call on this one.